kind of dumb. Let's just get into this. So Christian, basically a baby is born from the Uzumaki family and he has red hair, but Minato and Kushina think he's a mistake. We shouldn't keep him. They seal half the Nine Tails in him, because remember, Minato and Kushina are jerks in this timeline. So they had 4 kids and they decided to keep 3 of them and send away 1. Minato's gonna send the stick apparently to Jiraiya. He bites his finger and summons him to Mount Miyaboku where Jiraiya is. Jiraiya is sitting there, but then a baby falls down going, nah! Jiraiya catches him going, a baby? Then he sees a note on his back saying, please take care of this mistake, Jiraiya-sensei. If you want to kill him, I don't care. Minato. Jiraiya says, what happened to you, Minato? Wanted to kill your own son? He says, on the back of the note saying he has the demon inside of him, so feel free to call him demon whenever you want. He goes, I'm not going to call him demon. I want to raise this kid with such love and respect. That this kid is going to be so strong and nice that if one day that he'll be able to take care of me when I'm older. He trains him, Christian countlessly learning Sage Mode, mastering it every day, while learning all kinds of Toad techniques, learning the Rasengan. When he reaches 12, oh yeah, he has red hair, and he also unlocked his dojutsu called the Uzumaki-gan. He's really strong. Like, he's insanely strong. Then he wields a Toad Blade. He goes, he wields like a miniature sword of Gamabunta. He goes, yeah. His summoning contract is with Gamabunta. On the final day of the academy, Iruka says that this person passed already, but they're coming in because they passed a long time ago, and they were about 7 years old when they passed, and they're coming in now after training since they didn't have a squad. Sasuke says, I should have passed. He walks in and goes, hi, I'm Christian Uzumaki, nice to meet you. Naruto and Menma say, how are you an Uzumaki? He goes, reasons, my friend, reasons. She goes, then he says, quickly, just do a transformation in Shadow Clone Jutsu. He goes, Kagebushi, creating about 300 clones that scatter around the classroom and transform into Iruka.
Yes.
What?
Time for bed.
I know, I'll be there, I'll go to bed in a let's just say this. So when he sits down, he goes, Menma and Sasuke and Kiba say, this kid cannot surpass me. Then they say, we'll teach him a lesson after class. Then when he heads out of class, he's instantly grabbed by Menma by his collar. He says, hey loser! You're not going to be able to pass the academy, because we're going to force you not to. I'm the Hokage's son, so you have to do as I say. Go. What? Give me a sec! The video. So then he pushes Menma saying, I don't care who you are. I wouldn't care if you're the Stage of 6 Pass. I'd still push you if you grab me by my collar. Now listen here, buddy. You want to mess with me, you're gonna get destroyed. Then Menma says, holding him up still by his collar, going, and Minato and Kushina have missed Christian. They do miss him. They do regret sending him to Mount Miyaboku, because they realize that it was kind of dumb. They're grabbing it. Well, Minato says, Menma, let him go. He goes, no, he's a demon freak. Christian punches him in the nose, saying, you might want to let go now. Charges up a Rasengan to his face, saying, back, now. Then he throws him. Christian lands, hits the wall, but then he says, that's it. Then rushes towards Menma, beating the crap out of him. Basically what happens is Menma goes for a punch, he dodges out of the way, grabs the back of Menma's arm, swings him around and slams him, breaking his arm, going, you really want to test me, Buster? Then he says, I'll snap your arm like a twig right now. Then he snaps it, then throws Menma to the left, saying, now you two want to go? Then they rush at him. Kiba goes, Gatsuga! Christian goes under him, saying, Rasengan! Hitting him up, going, defeating him in one shot. He goes, ugh. Then Christian says, water style, miniature water dragon. A smaller water dragon, but still big, comes and bites down on Sasuke, defeating him. He goes, He says, who are you? He says, I'm your father. He says, so you're the one who sent me to Mount Miyaboku. He goes, he says, Jiraiya Sensei was very disappointed with you when he saw that message. He goes, I'm sorry, please. He goes, fine, I'm giving you 2 chances. Mess it up, going back to Mount Miyaboku. I had the summoning contract to summon myself back. In just the instant of a snap, watch, snaps Sensei, then snaps back. Says, Then he heads home. Then, when they head home, Kushina says, honey, who's this? Is this one of Naruto or Menma or Naruto's friends? She says, nope, remember? But then she remembers him. She says, then she runs up and hugs him, saying, son, we've missed you. He goes, have you though? She goes, what do you mean? He says, the note. He goes, oh, we're still sorry for that. Very, very sorry. He says, like I told Dad, I'm giving you guys 2 chances. You mess up, I'm leaving. She goes, how are you supposed to leave exactly? He goes, he snaps his fingers and poofs. Then he appears back saying, reverse summoning. Then he says, well, she says, time to meet your sister since she was out today since she already passed a day earlier since for imprecise chakra control. He goes, okay. Christian says, He's sitting down on the couch, trying to find a good position like he used to in Mount Miyaboku. He goes, ah. Then when he gets a bottle of water, Naruto says, here. Then he dumps it on his head. She goes, why would you do that? He says, well, back on Mount Miyaboku, I've constantly been hit by water, by a waterfall. So, it just felt normal. She goes, wow. Then he says, would you like to visit Mount Miyaboku? She says, sure. He says, well, siblings, line up. Except for Menma, because I don't like you. Naruto and Naruto then he snaps his fingers and they arrive to Mount Miyaboku, saying, welcome to Mount Miyaboku. Naruto goes, ah, adorable toads! Then starts poking them with a sheet, going poke, 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 poke. But then they shoot some weird saliva on her face. She goes, ah! He says, yeah, you might not want to annoy them. They get annoyed very fast. They go, ah! He says, don't worry, just go to the toad waterfall and that'll clean off. She cleans off her face. But then she takes a sip of the water and goes, whoa, this is delicious. He says, yeah, don't drink it. It's not good for you. That's not even water, actually. That's toad oil. She goes, what? He says, ah. Well, then he says, got Mr. Gamabunta. Then he jumps up and says, and then they high five, going, boom! But then Christian gets sent flying back, going, shoot, I forgot about this. He says, even he lives here, showing them the nine-tailed fox. He says, he lives here. They say, the nine-tails? He says, he's perfectly fine, he's harmless. He's happy. Him and Gamabunta usually spar, with him being much bigger than Gamabunta. But he usually stays in a mid-size. He says, well, we have to head back or Mom and Dad are going to be worried. He snaps his fingers, and as he gets a punch to the nose by Menma, he goes, dang it, what the hell? He says, where did you take my siblings? He says, bruh, they're right there. Are you blind? Then smacks him, going, are you blind? Then goes, 8 trigrams. Then he goes into Minato and Kushina's room saying, where is it? Got it. Then he walks out and puts on contacts and, like, fake veins on his face saying, Byakugan! He goes, what? Then he pulls out saying, 8 trigrams, 64 belts! Then going, yeah! And then Mim is on the ground going, ugh. Then they're sitting down watching TV. Kushina says, what happened to Menma? Naruto says, he got 8 trigrams, 64 belted. He says, but there's no Hyugas here. He says, hi! She goes, wait, you're a Hyuga? He goes, nope. It's his contacts. She says, what about the veins? He says, paper. 3D art. He goes, Christian says, I just want to go fight now. Christian says, is there any strong trial? Then he says, then someone knocks on the door and Kakashi says, Kakashi! And then he says, hey kiddo. He goes, wait, you know Kakashi? He goes, he was on Mount Miyaboku sometimes. He had no reason to be there. He just wanted to. He says, could you spar with me? He goes, sure, I'm down. It's not nighttime. They go, Madness says Kakashi Sensei will probably win. They're clashing, going, Christian activates the QB eyes and keeps up with him, going, ha, ha, ha. Then punches Kakashi in the chin. He goes, landing on his feet. Then Christian activates perfect Sage mode. Then with one blast that Jiraiya can't even. Christian rushes at Jiraiya, punching him. Jiraiya dodges and he goes, ha. Kakashi about to go for a punch, but then he gets sent flying back. He goes, ha. Then he's telling me, and he says, summoning jutsu, and Ma and Pa appear, and then they blind Kakashi with an attack. Christian appears below him, going, pshh, and punching him up in the air. Then he says, water style, great raging wave. Kakashi is drowned in the water. He goes, ooh. He says, water, earth style, vortex, clear vortex. Then puts him in a giant ice cube and a giant clear box and says, light off, heavy gets, aka Toad Lightning. And goes, and then he goes, spamming hand signs. Then he says, lightning style, thunderclap. Then defeats Kakashi. Then he pokes the thing which explodes the plastic barrier, the barrier. Then all the water spreads out. He goes, ah. Kushina says, nice to have another water user around here. All of them have wind and fire. Wind and water. Wind and lightning. He says, I have all 5 elements. He says, earth style, creating a mud wall. Water style, creating a water bullet. He says, wind style, shooting an air palm, aka a wind gale palm. He says, fire style, he shoots a fireball going. Then he says, lightning style. Then creates a double Chidori, creating a purple lightning going. And that's it for this episode, since I have to get off.